What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Blue River Bow Hunting, Spring Thunder, Part 5. Got my buddy Hunter Muller from Ohio back on with me. It's the second time on the show. We talked deer last time. This time we're talking some turkeys again. Well, I'm talking turkeys again. What's up, man?
How you doing?
Oh, not too bad. Kind of the same old stuff. Got the vest laid out and the decoys. Just going through, double checking, make sure I got everything ready to go. I still have like a month to wait, but it's always fun to get it all out and be ready for when the time does come.
Yeah, my stuff's been ready for months now, dude.
Right.
I just moved around the room a little bit here and there. I'm like, well, they got everything in there, and then come back to it, and then I move it around. I'm like, okay, I got a little bit more stuff in there now, and then I'm just sitting around waiting.
I feel like scratched my friction calls like 3 times a week now.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Well, for anybody that hadn't heard your deer episode, introduce yourself a little bit.
All right, yeah. My name's Hunter Muller. I'm 21, and I live in Northeast Ohio. Went to school down in Nelsonville, Ohio, for 2 years, and got an associate's degree in natural resource law enforcement, and hoping to continue on with that at some point along the lines, but we'll see where that goes.
How's everything on that end going? Are you like searching for a job, or how's that all working out?
So I'm planning on a move to Kentucky in July. My girlfriend lives down there. She's got a few more years of college left, so I head down there, and they're hiring in October. So we'll see. We'll see where that takes me. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I get it. I just seen a couple days ago where Indiana's hiring as well. So if Kentucky don't work out for you, I'm sure you could get a spot over here. I actually know a guy that hunts kind of down here by my neighbor. He's probably around your age, and he just got hired on. He's the new officer around home here, and it's nice to know somebody like when obviously in that position, knowing the person that you're going to have to deal with a little bit, and them knowing you, and they know that you do the right things and that sort of thing can make your life a hell of a lot easier.
Right.
'Cause
Yeah,
I know.
I don't
Sorry,
like
go ahead, buddy.
come on real strong, and they're just overwhelming. It's like, I don't know, you've been around both sides of it. You've seen both sides of the law, and you kind of just reason with people. I mean, sometimes you can't help it. Stuff happens in the woods, and you just got to be able to, like, you know, sit down and be like, hey, man, I understand what happened. I'm not gonna throw the book at you for it.
Right. I feel like they read your body language a lot. Like, if they come up to you and, it's their job. It's just like if a cop pulled you over, he's not going to walk up to the window and be your best friend. He's going to want to see your license, registration, same as hunting. He's going to want to see your guns and your license and all that good stuff. And if you're cool with him, he's most likely going to be cool with you. So there's no reason to be upset just because he's checking your stuff out. That's how I look at it anyway. He's just doing his job.
Right. I feel like the first, like, 5 minutes of that interactions really gives them, the feelings towards you. You show up and you're in a good mood, and you're working with them a little bit, and not giving them a hard time right off the bat, then they're going to be a lot easier to work with, I feel like.
Definitely. So let's dive into these birds a little bit. I asked you last time when you were on how you got started in hunting, but I'm going to be more specific this time. How did you start, and when did you start turkey hunting?
I was thinking about that earlier. I don't know exactly what age I was at when I first killed my first turkey, but I was probably around 7, something like that. That's when I killed my first deer, and it was probably around that same time.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, but my dad, he got into it, and my grandpa, he my dad actually hunted the first turkey season here in Wayne County when they opened it up. So he was kind of fresh to that. Him and my grandpa started going, and then back in the day, they just had the old videos and stuff to watch on TV. They really didn't have no idea on what was going on, but so they got into that, and they got pretty good at it. And then when I came along, Dad was just doing the same old thing, going hunting, and he started taking me before I was even able to hunt, just carrying me in the woods and stuff. And probably around 7, he took me in the fall one time. I killed a hen in the fall, and that was the first bird I killed.
That's
So,
awesome, man. It's always fun to, like when I started turkey hunting, my dad and uncle who I hunted with, they had never turkey hunted. They were fresh to it. So like we all were learning at the same time. So I never really got to show anybody, or nobody ever got to like teach me turkey hunting. it was kind of all just like experiences. You had to just go out and do it. And that's probably my biggest tip for people that are getting into it. I've had people reach out since I've started doing these shows asking questions about turkey hunting. And that's one of my biggest answers to some of these questions is you're just going to have to go out there and learn. Like, I'll give them my advice, obviously, but it's like, hey, you got to go out there and you figure this out because, I could tell you how to do something, but you're not really going to learn how to do it until you really physically go out there and do it for yourself.
Right. I feel like you have to make those mistakes first to really, you can tell somebody, hey, I've done this and it doesn't work. But until they go out there and they experience it, it's not really going to set in on them.
Right.
I don't
You
know.
could, like, for example, like if you hear one spitting and drumming and stuff, he's obviously got to be super close to you if for
Right.
you to hear that. And then, some people just may not recognize that sound and they might stand up and, start walking another direction or scare the bird or whatever. It's just kind of situational, I feel like, with turkey hunting, maybe compared to deer hunting. And it's fun to learn all those things on the fly for sure.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can sit and watch all the YouTube videos you want, do all that stuff. And I think the biggest thing that I struggle with is people ask me how to run a call. And, I pick it up or I put my mouth call in and I'm trying to, show them and explain to them how I'm doing it. But they put it in, they struggle with it. I'm like, I don't know. I can't help you, dude. I'm telling you what I do. But if it makes sense to you, I don't know.
Right. I always kind of ask somebody before they come on, kind of some stuff they want to talk about. Obviously, that they'll have points and that they want to come across as a hunter or whatever. You told me you wanted to discuss what drives you to turkey hunt. What exactly drives you to turkey hunt?
Oh man, I would say it's just the interaction with a bird. You know, they all have a different personality, and I guess you could compare that to deer hunting. Them guys that hunt, a specific deer, but it's just you get on a turkey and it's like you feel his personality. You might hunt him one day and he gives you the slip. You come back another day and you just know it's the same turkey. Just the way he acts and everything. It's the same bird. And it's just crazy. I mean, it can change in just a matter of seconds. You get out there and sometimes you don't know, like, you don't have time to go out there and roost them or whatever. You show up to a woods and you're like, dude, they should be here, but you don't know. And next thing you know, dude, they start hammering, and it's just like instant, like your heart's beating out of your chest, dude, and it's just go, 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 go right after that.
Yeah, it's an adrenaline rush, and I think that drives the gobble itself. That adrenaline rush that drives a lot of people to turkey hunt, in my opinion,
Oh
and it does me too for a little. You know what I mean? For the most part, that interaction definitely gets me going too. I think it's just like I don't even know how to explain it as a turkey hunter. The whole picture for me is what does it. You got the spring weather. It's nice outside. You're out in the outdoors in general. You're waking up with the woods or whatever. You're talking to them. You're learning how to talk to them. Man, it gets me pumped up just thinking about it because I haven't got to experience it yet
yeah.
for the season, and I've got that itch really bad right now. I can't stop watching YouTubes, and I listen to other podcasts as well and stuff, and I'm fired up right now. I'm ready to go turkey hunting like right this second.
Oh, dude, I am too. I ran out of YouTube videos a while ago to watch.
Right.
And Hody or somebody like that to drop another video. I'm like, come on, man, I gotta have something to watch tonight.
Right. I don't know if you seen them on my show a few weeks back or not, but Team Wingbone,
Oh
go
yeah,
and check their videos out. Dude, you'll be like, oh my, you're gonna message me later tonight and be like, thank you for sending me these people. Their turkey hunts are incredible. Like when I say incredible, like they're chasing Miriams out west. They're chasing swamp birds down in Mississippi, Louisiana. They're up in Ohio. They're everywhere, throughout one season. And they have some incredible experiences that they catch on film, and that's the best part of it. And it'll really get you jacked up. But you've already got a little bit of turkey hunting under your belt for this year. You got a trip down for some Osceolas. Tell us how it went.
yeah. It was not what I was expecting, and not in a bad way. It's just you sit and you watch Osceola hunts, on YouTube. You're like, everybody as a turkey hunter wants to go on an Osceola hunt. Like, there's only one place you can do it. You got to go down to Florida. So, once you get that interest, you start watching videos. You're like, what's it like? Hunting in the palmettos and the pines and all this. And they always show them. They put a decoy out. They always show them come running in, hammering, and all this. And you get down there, dude, and they're just tight-lipped birds. Like they're shy. They're just really, really different than an eastern. Like you get up here around home, they're just blowing the roof off the woods.
Right.
You get down there, and I think maybe I heard 10 gobbles total the whole 3 days I hunted. And I'm like, the first day, the outfitter that I went through, he's like, I'm just gonna tell you, dude, they don't gobble much down here. And he's like, he was 75, and I'm like, he might just be an old school turkey hunter, real soft calling, be real patient, and all this stuff. And I'm like, I know how to call turkeys, I think I know how to call turkeys. But then it was like the end of the first day, I'd saw 4 longbeards, and the first one, it was in the afternoon. I got set up, put my decoy out or whatever, and I called a little bit, and I'd set my call back down. I was using my glass call, set my call back down, and I'm just kind of trying to get some brush in front of me because it was kind of open where I was at. Just 120 yards away, he opens up, and I'm like, oh, I look over and he's just standing there, and he's just standing there looking. And I'm like, well, he doesn't know where I'm at. He came out to that field looking for me.
Hmm.
So I called a little bit more to him. And he gobbled 3 or 4 times. Then he just locked right onto that decoy. And I'm like, oh, he's coming now. He's fired up. He's doing the half strut a little bit and gobbling. And next thing you know, he just turns around and just goes right back in the woods. And that was
Wow.
the end of that. And I'd sat there for, that was about 1:30. I saw him, and then it was probably around 6:30. I was sitting there, and I'm like, dude, I have not heard a gobble. I've not seen a turkey. And about that time, I seen 3 longbeards coming. And they was probably 175 yards out. So I yelped at them, just loud enough that I could tell that they heard it. They perked up. Then they just put their head down and started running right to me. And when they got around this bend where they could see my decoy, dude, they laid on the brakes, did like 3 or 4 like jukey steps, and just, I mean, I've never seen a turkey run that fast, just sprinting, dead in the woods.
So you think that maybe the decoy just they didn't like that? They didn't feel like getting their ass whipped that day, or what?
All I had was a lookout hen,
Oh,
and
okay. I
yeah,
didn't know if maybe you had like a half strutter or something like that out.
no, I didn't have any. I didn't call to them aggressive. I didn't put any kind of aggressive decoys out. They just, when they saw it, I don't know if it's where it's a little bit bigger than what they're used to seeing. Yeah. They're kind of a small bird. Like their hens are only like 8 or 10 pounds. Like
Oh,
they're
wow.
small. Yeah, they're real small. I don't know if it's just the size difference, but like a decoy's, in my opinion, is like an avian X or something. It's not the size
Right.
of a full size hen. But I just don't understand. They'd see that thing and they would just turn around and go. And I'm like, how are you supposed to hunt a turkey that doesn't like to be called to and doesn't like decoys? I'm sitting here scratching my head. And I told that outfitter that night about it. He's like, oh, dude. So I was trying to tell you that the first day. He said, I don't tell anybody how to hunt down here. He said, whatever you want to do. He said, but I'm telling you, he said, just real, real light calling. He said, like barely that you can even hear it. And that's what they like. About every 30 minutes, just real light calling. I'm like, all right, dude. So it
And
was
I'm
just,
definitely putting this decoy up.
oh yeah. My dad got back. He killed one opening day.
Oh, that's awesome. Big bird or
Yeah, it was a big one. One spur was an inch and a quarter, another was an inch and an eight,
nice.
and about a 9 inch beard. He had 6 of them come right off the roost, come running right in, and they saw his decoy. And he said that it was kind of like a gate, like they was coming up this pine road,
Hmm.
and they come sprinting up. And when they saw his decoy, he said the lead one was the biggest one, and he just kind of started swinging for the woods, and every one of them after that started swinging for the woods. But by the time he got to the last one, it was about 30 yards from him, right in line with his decoy. And he said as soon as it popped out from behind his decoy, he took a shot,
That's awesome.
getting him. But then we got back home and started talking, back to the cabin, and we started talking. We're like, dude, these decoys are screwing us. I was like, we gotta leave these things at home.
No kidding.
But it was crazy, dude.
I bet. So tell us about your hunt where you got it done.
So it was the second day I didn't have any luck. And the third day we was going out, I hadn't had any birds gobbling in the morning, and we was going out in the afternoon. The guy he takes you out and drops you off. We're heading back out, and we dropped the one guy off. We're cruising past this field where I saw the three the first day, and there was nothing out there. We get to the next field that's like, here's this field, and here's the field that I hunted in the first day. There's like a pretty good size strip of woods in the middle, but there's like a little clearing that goes in between the fields so it connects.
Mm-hmm.
And when we got to that second field, maybe 100 yards from the gate, there's three of them out there just strutting and gobbling. And I'm like, dude, just turn around, just drop me off in that other field, and I'll figure out what I need to do from there. So he turns around, drops me off in that field, and I got set up in that field and started calling a little bit. And then I could see through that gap, and I'm like, oh, dude, I see them. I was like, they're going away from me. And I was like, this is the last afternoon. Like,
Great.
this can't be going on. Like, I got to get up there. So I ended up sneaking probably 120 yards up into that little gap and was crawling. And I could see them going away from me. And I just started calling real soft on my mouth call. And they just turned around, and one would strut for 20 yards. He'd stop strutting, and the next one would go into strut and strut for 20 yards. And they just kind of slowly worked their way up. And I had one right where I was waiting on him to get into this little gap to shoot. And I was like, dude, if he comes like 10 yards closer, I'll have him. Well, I called real soft, and he started walking my way. And about that time, there was a big tree closer to me. And out from behind that big tree, here comes a strutter. And he's in range.
Oh,
And
oh, nice.
I'm like, oh, crap. As soon as he sticks his head up, I'm going to let him have it. And he just, as soon as he come out from behind that tree, it was like it was meant to happen. He just poked his head straight up. Boom! And I jumped up, and that other bird that was kind of near him took off running. Well, the bird I shot fell in this little dip, and I'm like, I couldn't see him at first. And I'm like, oh, dude, I missed. Like, it was a clean miss. Like, this bird running towards me is the one I shot at. So I get up on him, and I'm like, oh, I better just, make sure I got this other one before I get too crazy here. So
Right.
I look over, and that one's flopping, and the third bird was standing over top of him trying to flog him.
Oh, wow.
And I get up there, and I'm like 10 feet away from him before he even realizes I'm there. I had to yell at him. I'm like, hey, I was like, get out of here. And he just kind of looked at me and sprinted 80 yards and then just started walking. And the whole time I'm standing there, standing on this bird's head, this bird's just slowly walking at 80 yards.
Oh,
I'm like,
wow.
they act so smart until you shoot one, and then they all go crazy.
Well, that's awesome, man. Definitely congratulations on knocking that Osceola off the old belt there.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, that'd be fun for sure. If you don't mind me asking, what that trip at an outfitter like that, what that cost you?
It was about 2,500 a person for 3 days. It was they had cabins set up for us. They had meals. They had like cereal and stuff for breakfast in the morning and coffee and all that. And then
Yeah.
they pick you up about lunchtime, and they'd make like burgers or hot dogs or something. And then at night, dude, we was eating good. Like,
Oh yeah.
we had ribs the one night, we had chicken the one night, steak, pork chops. The dude was just grilling like crazy, just everything. It was good.
Yeah. I know sometimes the outfitting thing can get a bad rap, but I went up to Wisconsin, kind of same deal. Guy and his buddies kind of had it set up, and I definitely ate like a king that week. Like you said, even kind of for breakfast. They didn't really have like hot breakfast, but they had like Pop Tarts and cereals and granola bars and stuff like that. And I'd load my bag up and stuff. But yeah, people give outfitters a bad rap sometimes, but it's an absolute blast. I'm sure you and your dad going together like that probably made for a pretty fun trip together. I'm
Oh
sure.
yeah, it was a 16-hour drive though. That was the
Whew.
part. Yeah.
I'll fly. I'll meet you there.
So, Dad, he don't fly on planes. He was on a plane one time that caught on fire.
Oh
And
shit.
yeah, when they was landing, he said, "I won't fly on a plane anymore. So anytime we go on a trip, we're driving."
Yeah, I don't blame you on that one. If I was on a plane that was about to crash and burn, I'd probably feel the same way. I'm sure. So, you talked about hitting Florida. How exactly did that all come together? How did you plan it, and what other states do you have planned for this year?
So Florida, Florida was just kind of a random thing, really. Uh, my dad had that on his bucket list for turkey hunting for quite some time, and it was always something that's like, I've always wanted to get a grand slam at some point, and I'm like, it's gonna be on the list at some point in time, I don't know when. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, my mom's like, "Hey," she's like, "I was looking online and I booked you guys a turkey hunt in Florida." And
Fuck yeah.
we're like, "Okay."
Thank you, Mama. Thank you.
Dad, he's like, he don't like spending money. He's like, we don't need to be doing that. And then when we got
Yeah.
down there, he was just having a ball.
Oh yeah, and that's the thought process on a lot of people when it comes to spending money on a hunt. They say, let's rough it, let's go find some public somewhere, do this and that. I understand that adventure. Trust me, that adventure is just as fun as any other adventure. But
Right,
having your own place to go, you're hunting private property. The guys are cooking you ribs and barbecue for dinner and stuff like that. It's a whole
right.
nother experience, man. And I had a blast the one time that I've done it. I will do it again at some point. I don't know for what, but I had a blast, and I don't knock it by any means. I think it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, I I've never went on a turkey hunt through an outfitter before, so I was kind of like iffy. That's always something that I felt like I was pretty good at. I can do it myself. But where my dad, he does road construction, so he only gets so much time off. So we didn't have time to go down there and camp and hit like public land or whatever. We didn't have time to do all that. So he's just like,
Yeah.
let's just go down for 3 days through this outfitter and do that. And it was fun, dude. It was a lot of fun.
I bet. What about like did Florida have any like hunting regulations that you maybe weren't used to, or something that was just a little bit different than what you're used to in Ohio?
So the biggest thing that was weird is uh, dad killed his bird opening day. And I'll tell you what, Verizon cell service in Florida, it needs a lot of work.
I bet.
You wouldn't think you could get out in the boondocks in Florida, but where we were, dude, there was like one bar the whole time. So we're like, he kills his bird, and we're like, we got to tag it in. And we're trying to get online, can't load nothing. And finally, I found a spot where I could load it. And I'm like, there's nothing. Like, there's nothing for tagging a turkey in, just deer. And I did a little bit more digging, and you just, up until this year, like this fall coming, they don't have you tag turkeys down there. You get two tags, but you don't tag them. And I was like, that's wild.
That is wild. And to kind of piggyback off kind of what you were just saying, I don't remember exactly what state it was. I want to say it's Nebraska. You can kill, I can't even remember, 3 or 4 birds or something out there, but you have these tags, and you don't tag any of the turkeys in until like the last day of season, or after the season's over, whatever. I thought that was bizarre.
Yeah, this,
Normally when you kill it, you need to call it in. You got like 24 hours or whatever it is to get that tag on it, which, it's crazy going to other states and seeing some of these laws and regulations that maybe the people in Florida are used to. Like, I went to Missouri last year, and we leased a property there for 4 or 5 days or whatever it was, and we can only hunt till noon. We had to
I
be
saw,
out of the woods at 1 o'clock, could only hunt till noon. I'm like, I just drove like 10 hours over here. I mean, we knew about it before we went over there, obviously. But, I want to hunt all day. I want to be there. I might leave and go get a burger, or, hit McDonald's drive through or something and come back or whatever. But I want to hunt all day, especially spending the money to come out here.
right, you only get, 2 or 3 days, and you can only hunt half of those days. It really, takes a lot out of your hunting trip.
Absolutely. I did. I had a blast, though. It didn't matter. I still had
Right.
fun.
That's how Ohio is. Ohio's, you can only hunt till noon the first 2 weeks.
Wow.
So you hunt till noon, and then you got to be out by one, like you were saying, and then the last 2 weeks you can hunt all day.
I
So
think it's wild, like in PA and some of those other places. I think not be able to hunt on Sunday. I think that's wild that people can't hunt on a Sunday.
yeah, I mean, like if that was in my situation, dude, like I have the weekends off. I don't really. Sometimes I get a chance to hunt throughout the week, but most of the time it's during the weekend. If you could only hunt, Saturday and not Saturday and Sunday, that would really.
Just
That,
imagine what that would do to your turkey season. It's already short to begin with. Say you get 2 or 3 weekends to turkey hunt, and you only get a hunt on a Saturday, that's only like 2 or 3 days period.
the whole season.
That
Yeah,
would suck. I mean, I think that, and not only that, but like obviously bag limits. I think that's why you see a lot of traveling turkey hunters. I feel like a lot of the shows I've been listening to lately, they're talking about their plans, where they're all going, and some people just like you know, you live in Ohio, you went to Florida, you drove 16 hours to hunt a turkey.
right.
I think that's kind of what you know differs between a turkey hunter and a deer hunter. And don't get me wrong, there's traveling deer hunters too. I'm one of
Right.
them. I like going to different places, but I feel like there's more traveling turkey hunters than there are deer hunters, in my opinion.
It's different too because you can hunt Ohio and then drive down to Kentucky, and the birds just act completely different. You're hunting them in the mountains. It's then you go to another state and then you step foot in a place you never hunted before, and it's just like all like you don't know what is beyond the next set of trees, dude. You're just going. You're like just go on and have an adventure. And I like going to new spots like that and just not having any clue where I'm at and just going and killing a turkey.
Oh, absolutely. I'm right there with you. That was, the place that we leased. I can't remember exactly how many acres it was. I want to say like 250, 300 acres or something like that. And it was a lot of rolling hills in northwest Missouri where we were at. And I'm used to hunting the mountain birds, Kentucky, Appalachian mountain birds, basically, some big, big hills and ravines and stuff. And it was kind of wide open, very little woods really, and just rolling hills. And it was kind of hard to adjust, sort of like trying to eye a setup. And then I
Right.
was just like, I just got to go where the birds are and then figure it out from there. And the last day we were on them pretty thick, and of course I botched it and missed the shot, so I don't want to talk about that. But what about other places to hunt this year? Where else are you going?
So right now I'm patiently waiting to go down to Kentucky. I'll be down there, and then hopefully I can swing through West Virginia. And theirs comes in the Monday after Kentucky's
Mm-hmm.
comes in on a Monday. So I probably won't be able to swing that all in the same time. I'll probably have to make another trip down, but that and then Ohio, obviously,
Yeah. When's Ohio come in?
April 23rd.
23rd. That's when Michigan comes in. I'll be in Michigan that weekend, the 23rd, for 2 days, possibly more. I'm not really sure yet on that. For the weekend, for sure, opening weekend there for private land in the zone that I'm hunting. And then that coming Wednesday, following Wednesday after the 23rd, I think it's the 27th. That's when it comes in Indiana, and I'm gonna hunt basically from opening day through Sunday. So Wednesday to Sunday, I think what's gonna happen for me here, and I don't really know. I hadn't really. That wasn't my plan to begin with, to hunt that long here, and I really don't have that many spots here in Indiana to turkey hunt. So it's kind of going to be like what we're talking about. I'm going to be finding some public and adventuring. With our season coming in on a Wednesday, you won't run in as too many people as you will that weekend, or maybe even that Friday or whatever.
Right.
So I feel like I have a 2 day grace period where I may have better luck than the weekend. So I don't know. I'm gonna kind of put some feelers out there with a few buddies. I wouldn't even mind just a film. You know what I mean? I just want to go and have a good time, and maybe I can pop a bird in Michigan, and then that takes a little bit of pressure off, and makes me feel good. And I want to video other people, which
Right.
some people don't like taking other people to their spot and stuff. But if it's a camera, man, I don't see the hurt in it.
Right.
uh, I have some stuff on here I was going to talk to you about, obviously, about turkeys. When you grew up turkey hunting with your dad and stuff, learning to call, where did you learn to call from? Is there like a DVD or VHS you watched, or a certain series, or just kind of fell into it?
I I was thinking about that the other day because I'm pretty decent on a mouth call. Like I'm not up there with the champions, but I'm not down, at the bottom. And I was thinking, I was like, how did I even learn how to, run a mouth call? Like thinking back on it, I couldn't remember because probably right after I killed my first turkey at 7, my dad just, would throw me a mouth call and be like, here, play around with it. And then it was probably when I was around 14 or so, 15. I got to where I could call pretty good on a mouth call because I was getting up closer to the age where I was going to start hunting by myself.
Hmm.
So, I just learned from my dad up until that point, and then I took what I had from there, and I was watching, YouTube videos a little bit because try to get to like a different, um, experience level of calling. Like I knew the basics. I could call a turkey in, but I wanted to, sound a little bit more realistic. And I started watching, zinc calls, AVNX guys,
Hmm.
Josh Grossenbacher and all of them calling and stuff like that. And I don't know. My glass call, I think it just kind of somebody threw it to me and it just started working.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, speaking of calls, what calls do you like, or what calls do you go with? Do you like a mainstream call, or do you like a straight custom call from somebody that people never even heard of?
So for mouth calls, I used to run AVNX a lot, and I liked them. And then, I mean, I swore by them. I tell everybody AVNX, AVNX, or zinc calls. I mean,
Right.
and up until 2 years ago, Dad was scrolling on Facebook or something and saw a small company called Appalachian Custom Calls
Hmm.
down in Tennessee, and he's like, "These look good." And I'm like, "I don't know. I've been using these zinc calls for so long. I don't know if I really want to, try something different." But I started looking, and the guy's prices are like $5 or $6 a piece for these mouth calls, and I'm like, "Well, heck, he had like a pack of six for $30 or something." I was like, "Sure, I'll get a 6 pack and play around with them." And I started using them, dude, and they'll blow my old zinc calls out of the water. Like anybody I see, I'm like, "Dude, try one of these. Just try them." And
That's
it's just
awesome.
some small time dude in Tennessee.
That's awesome. I'm with you. Um, and I still run some for the most part, but zinc has been my favorite for a long time. Um, and like when we go to like the Deer and Turkey Expo here in Indy, or trade shows and stuff like that, or you're seeing it on social or wherever, I like buying from the guy making them in his garage and stuff, or whoever that just likes woodwork and putting stuff together. Like a little teaser, I don't know if you've ever heard of Pecker Wrecker Game Calls. You ever heard of them? They're making a custom Blue River bow hunting uh, slate call, or a glass over slate out of purple heartwood, and it's got my logo in it and everything. It's gonna be badass. I can't wait to get it. Hopefully, I get it before I go to Michigan. Kind of did a custom order on there, and their prices are unbelievable too. But I don't know, man. I fell in love with the zinc stuff from the beginning, and they sound good. I like the way they sound for sure. What about reeds? You said you like mouth calls. What kind of reeds do you like going with?
I like them cut. Like I like a lot of cuts in them.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really do like a triple read with no cuts. I can't make them sound good. It's just too high pitched.
Right.
The one I got, I don't know what cut you'd call it, but he calls it the Sidewinder.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And then he's got one that's what do you call it? Screaming Demon, something like that. And I got those this past year. Last year I had the Sidewinder and I really liked it. And this year I got two Sidewinders, a Screaming Demon, and a Sunflower Scratch from him. And dude, they're nice.
I like a side cut too, and a split V. And I was actually just messing with mine before we hopped on here, and it's funny you say that. I stuck they call it a piggyback. I can't remember uh, firefighter game calls. I can't remember where I got it. I got it from a trade show, and it's a double reed stack, no cuts. And I put it in my mouth, and I'm thinking, man, I haven't used this. I've got like 50 of those, those containers that hold like 5 calls. I have like 50 of those in my vest. So I'm just like pulling them out because I like conditioning my calls. I like putting them in like a cup, like a solo cup, and I'll splash just a little bit of mouthwash in it, and then fill the rest up with water, and I'll stick it in the fridge for a couple days. Just I don't know, it makes me feel good. It makes my reeds come undone, puts a good taste in my mouth when I go to stick it in my mouth. And I put that double reed in there, no cuts, and it sounded great. And I was like, huh, I might have to use this here coming up because it sounded pretty good. It had a rasp to it, but it did
Yeah.
have a higher pitch to it for sure.
I'll tell you the big mistake I made this year. I ordered like 4 or 5 calls off of him. as soon as I got them in the mail, I threw them in the new ones that I hadn't tried, and I was using them. And they came in a little plastic bag, and when I got done, I didn't think anything of it, and I put them back in that bag, and I took them upstairs, put them away in my room. And then a couple weeks later, I was like, oh, "Where's them turkey calls at?" And I went and got them. Pulled them out, dude. They was all molded. I had
Oh man.
never, yeah, I'd never had anything happen like that. I didn't think about putting it in a Ziploc bag where all the
Hmm.
moisture was trapped.
Right.
They was all moldy, and I reached out to him. I said, "Hey, man," I said, "I don't expect you to do anything about this." I said, "But I just want to let you know the new ones I got. I didn't realize if you put them in a bag like that that they would mold." And he said, "Hey, man," he said, "I'll send you all new ones for free." And he said, "I won't charge you for shipping." And he said, "I'll send you an extra sidewinder in there too." Just
That's awesome.
yeah.
You
And I
said
was
it's
like, "Wow,
Appalachia Game Calls.
Appalachian custom calls."
I'm gonna check that out because that sounds like somebody I'd like to deal with. So maybe I might order a couple just to have a couple. It's all situational. When you call them, you might stick your favorite one in there you think sounds perfect for that day, and the bird don't even respond to it. You're like, well, let me go to the next one. You put another one in, boom, he hits, and he just won't shut up, and you're like, okay, this one's working today. I
Yeah,
like it, how that happens, and it's always fun because you might stick the $3 Walmart Primos call in there and get him hammering, or you might
right.
stick a $15 call in there and he won't say a thing back to you.
The new thing I got this year, I'm excited to try out in Kentucky is a tube call. You ever seen
Hmm.
a tube call?
Yeah,
I'd never seen one until I was watching Pinhoti Project.
yeah.
I was like, man, that's kind of cool. And I walked into a gas station about a month ago down in Kentucky, and it was like a little hunting store gas station. And right there was all these calls, Cane Creek custom calls, little thing there. And I was like, well, here's one of them tube calls. And I picked it up, dude, and bought it for like 13 bucks or something. It was one of them custom things. And got home and I was like, dude, that thing is sweet. You can cut on it so easy. It's not, forced like
Right.
with a mouth call. You try to build up and cut real hard, and sometimes it just don't sound right. But that tube call, it's just so easy, so easy.
That's awesome. Uh, Talk a little bit about some vest talk. Do you use a vest?
I do, yeah.
What kind of vest are you running with?
Um, I don't know what model it is, but it's an old Cabela's vest. It's got the seat on it and everything. And my dad actually has the same one. The one I got was my grandpa's, and then when he passed away, I got it, and that's one I still use. Got enough pockets for me. Somebody commented on my picture the other day, and he said, "You got enough pockets?" I said, "I don't know. I could use a couple more."
Right. I've had the same turkey vest for probably going on 10, 11 years, and I don't see a need for an upgrade. The seat works great for me. I actually use a chair, a turkey chair. I can sit a lot longer and be more comfortable in it.
Right?
And I was kind of checking out. I was just curious the other day, fooling around before I went to bed on my phone or whatever. And they got that new Will Primos vest, and it is a bad mother. It really is.
Oh yeah,
And I thought, man, I ought to get this. And then I just talked myself out of it. I'm like, I don't need it. It's just one of those things. I could spend this money somewhere else. I'm still trying to put together a saddle hunting deal like we had talked before. And uh, I don't know. The vest is fun. What about what's all in your vest? I mean, you don't have to go through every little thing, but you got anything special in there? Like a trick that I like to bring some nippers with me, and I'll nip a couple branches off at a 45-degree angle, stick them in the ground in front of me. You got a little makeshift blind.
yeah. That'd be something handy. I hadn't seen anybody doing that until I was watching YouTube one day, and a guy pulled out a pair of nippers. And when I was in Florida, the day I was telling you I had to put up some cover in front of me, I was just breaking them off and trying to stuff them in the ground. I was like, "Man, that would be so convenient." But on
Right,
public land, you might not be able to use it. But
that's
I
true.
do hunt a lot of private, and I think that would be something really good. But I don't know. I don't have anything really too special. I just got one pocket's got two calls, one glass call and one slate call. I got like 4 or 5 strikers in there, and then I keep a headlamp in there. I keep um, a water filter in there. It kind of seems kind of stupid, but you never know.
You never know, buddy. especially
Um,
on public land. You get lost, don't know where the hell you're at, don't have service
right.
on your phone or something.
So I keep that in there, and then I've got the shell pocket. I shoot longbeard XRs,
Same.
and the other one's just full of Appalachian custom calls. And
That's
this
awesome.
year, I actually just got one of these little Write in the Rain books,
Mm-hmm.
and it's waterproof or whatever, so you can write on it. And I'm gonna starting to keep a log of turkey kills and stuff. And then I got this old turkey tote that my grandpa made before he passed away. It's made out of baler twine,
That's
and
awesome.
it's just kind of like a tradition for me to just hang one up with it when I get done, something cool like that.
Yeah, that's
I
for
mean,
sure.
I didn't know it was in there for the longest time, and one day I killed a big tom, and I was sitting there just chilling, and I was going through my vest, and I'm like, "What is that rope in there?" And then come to find out, it was this little tote that he made back in the day, and I was like, "Well, that's pretty cool, you
That
know."
is pretty cool. You're rocking your grandpa's vest. You got the tote that he made in there. That's pretty special, man. That'd be pretty cool to get a picture with all that stuff if you killed a bird at home and stuff. Make it
Right.
a little more extra special, or you know what I mean?
I use his gun too that he carried, and dude, I tell you what, with Longbeard XRs and the way he had it set up, it'd be tough to find a gun that'll outshoot it.
What
You
what
could.
kind of gun is that?
It's a Remington 870 Express, so it shoots the 3-inch mags, and I'm telling you, dude, it'd be hard to find another gun that would outshoot it. I killed probably two at 70 yards with it,
That's
and
awesome.
yeah, and I was like, I was young then when I did it, and I probably shouldn't have shot that far, but
Right.
it dumped them over. It was no, half wing shot or something like that. But
Yeah.
I see these guys with the TSS now, and it's cool. My dad just bought a 410, one of them little Stevens, and shoots TSS. But I'm like, dude, I'm too broke. He's like, these are $8 a shot for 410. And I'm like, holy crap.
That, and they're hard to find right now too,
Yeah,
so I wouldn't want to have to go through all that mess.
yeah.
I'm using a Mossberg 835. It was my uncle's who passed that I used to hunt with and stuff, and I think I have like a Undertaker. I have an Undertaker choke, a Jellyhead, several different chokes I kind of play with whenever I shoot around and pattern guns and stuff. But I used to hunt with a New England Arms single shot 10 gauge with the original National Wild Turkey Federation camo on it. And dude, that thing is a beast.
I'm
Me and my
sure.
buddy doubled up a couple years ago, and we shot two longbeards at about 65 yards, and it was funny because the bird I shot, I mean, he didn't even flop. I mean, he just absolutely flattened this bird, and his bird's all flopping around, and we had to chase it down, and he shot his with, I think it was a Mossberg 500 even. He goes, I cannot believe we just shot those birds at 65 yards. It was a little further out than what we had thought. When we stepped it off, I was like, dude, that was 65 yards. He's like, no way. I'm like, and look at that bird. I don't even have to step on his head. I absolutely flattened that bird. And it was funny because, we're tucked up against each other, up against a tree, and we're right next to each other when that 10 gauge goes off. He said, dude, I can't, I'm deaf in one ear, and I probably will be for the next few days. You just blew my eardrums out.
I saw the fire shoot out the end of it.
Yeah, probably felt it. But that's cool, man. I love talking guns and pattern. It's wild how much different a choke with a different pattern or a different shell, how different it patterns. It's
Right.
crazy until you find that right medium on what you want to shoot. I've personally never shot a TSS. I've shot a lot of different shells, like the Federal extended wad or flight control pattern wads back when they first came out, the Longbeard XRs, the third degrees. I've shot about all of them, and I like the Longbeard XRs too, and they shoot the best out of my gun when I
Right.
hit something with it anyways.
I'll tell you the crazy thing is that gun that I got, that old Remington 870. It just got a Remington. I think might be like a super turkey or super full or something turkey
Right,
choke.
right, extra full or something.
Yeah, and so my grandpa got it first and was killing turkeys with it. My dad's like, "Holy crap, dude, that thing will shoot!" And he went and bought one, the same gun, the same year. It was a synthetic stock. He got the same exact choke for it, and his will shoot like 40 yards, and that's like at the max, and then you'll shoot mine, and you can 40 yards, you just decimate one, and then like 50 and 60, it's like you'll kill them, but it's not super great. But
Right.
how do you I don't understand how it's the gun, like it's not the choke, it's not the shell. We're shooting the same exact thing, same gun. He's like, but it's just the gun. It just won't shoot as good. The combination, it's crazy.
That is crazy. Um, Talk a little bit about processing. Your turkey. Is there a certain way you like cooking your bird up?
We mostly just breast them out. I hate to
Same.
say that, but Um, I always, open them up and I see the legs just sitting there, and I'm like, and every time we've tried to eat them, dude, it's just tough.
I
Really,
don't like dark meat anyway, so
no, I don't either. So we mostly just breast them out. Dad likes to cook them in the crock pot,
yeah,
make
that's
the
good.
breast, but like cream of chicken or cream of mushroom soup in there and let them cook. And then he just got a smoker the other day, and I don't know if you follow Southern Ground Hunting.
Yep. Actually, speaking to him, he will be on my show here coming up.
Oh, really, Parker?
Parker McDonald. Yep.
Yeah. So me and him text back and forth a little bit, but he posted on there the other day. He had them turkey nuggets wrapped in bacon or
Oh
whatever.
yeah, that looked
I
really
told Dad, I
good.
was like, dude, we gotta put them on the smoker and try that. So we're gonna try that here pretty soon.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, for sure. I'm a little bit of a thick fella. I like eating, so any way's good for me. And I've had it in a crock pot several different ways, and it's pretty good. Uh, Personally, I like the deep fried. I like to flour them up and throw them into some oil or whatever for a minute or two, and maybe cook up your own little potato chips or French fries with it, and maybe some fish, some fresh fish to go with it. Always kind of like a game day special out in the garage watching the race or football or whatever's on. Uh, what about preseason scouting? What exactly all do you go through preseason scouting your birds there at home?
um, I'm gonna say that, I mean, there's not as many birds as there was probably 5 or 6 years ago around home anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I told Dad this coming year, I said I don't even know if I'll shoot one. We seen a flock probably back in January. We was watching about 30 birds, and there was only two jakes and a tom with them. And I'm like, I don't know, man. It's you kill them, and then what do you got left? For the next
Right.
couple years. We've had a couple wet springs, and it's just the hen numbers are up, but we're just not seeing many toms. And I'm like, I'd feel bad if I'm the guy that shoots the tom, and it takes 3 or 4 years to get back to having birds around.
Yeah.
But
And that's why your state went from two birds to one bird, right?
no, I don't really think the numbers are down throughout the whole state. I think it's just kind of regional. I when I went to school down in Southern Ohio, there was lots of birds down there. I mean, I got property in Southern Ohio all the way down on the tip, and there's an unreal amount of turkeys down there. But then you get up here around my house, it's there's not as much woods. It's not like your prime turkey habitat. They don't have huge woods to get in, and we have a lot of fields. But if you don't have the woods to sustain turkeys, they're not going to be there. And we have a lot of coyotes around here too, so that doesn't really help the population any.
Yeah, that's what really hurts it where I'm at. Where I'm at here in East Central Indiana, we might have a flock here or there, and it is very, very thin. I was actually just looking. I was curious, so I started looking up numbers of, total kills in each county and stuff like that. And there was only like 6 or 7 birds checked in for the county that I live in last year. So there's not very many turkeys at where I'm at. Right here where I deer hunt, there's none. I mean, there's more. There's so many predators, coyotes. Like my one Hancock County spot that I deer hunt a lot, it won't be nothing for me to see 3 or 4 coyotes in a deer hunt. Like they're everywhere, and obviously, just like everybody else, when you're on a deer hunt, and you see a coyote, it turns into a coyote hunt. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yep.
I try to do as best as I can, and there's some guys in the area that do very well on the predator thing. So hopefully, it turns around here, and we get some booming for sure. You talked a little bit to me about like the research that was going on. Talk a little bit about what you wanted to talk about on that.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like the state's not doing their max potential. I mean, we've got a good group of birds down in the south, but then you get up around here, and it's like these wildlife areas. A lot of the ones around my house, it seems like all they do is just mow the grass and maintain the some of the fields. They don't ever go out there and do any kind of habitat stuff. It's like one time we I was with I forget Northeast Ohio Woodcock Association,
Mm-hmm.
and we actually went down and did some tree plantings for woodcock, and that was through an outside organization
Right.
planting, these trees on state ground. It's like where's all this money from our licenses and tags going to if we have these outside organizations coming in and doing work? Like what is the state doing to better our habitat? Like, you know everybody deer hunts pretty much, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
They always have that income from deer hunting, but then you don't have, there's turkey hunters, but it's not like their main source of income. So I don't really feel like they give it a good strong look when it comes to research. They're just kind of focused on, bag limits for deer, like how many deer these people had to kill, keep collisions down and stuff like that. But it's like all these, upland game birds are just kind of pushed to the side. They got to do something or people get angry, but I don't feel like they're really doing enough to really benefit us.
Yeah, you talked a little bit about the Woodcock Association. What about the National Wild Turkey Federation? Are they doing anything in your area for anything?
I don't really know off the top of my head. I mean, I've been to some places in Southern Ohio where they've got National Wild Turkey Federation lands, but I can't really say that I've experienced them, doing any kind of work down there or any kind of new research to my knowledge. But I don't really want to, say too much on it if I haven't done my research on that. But
Right. Yeah. You always see a lot of outside organizations, help out with states. I never really thought about that until you say that. Some a lot of states, they do stuff. I know, like, I was talking to a buddy yesterday, where he goes at Missouri. They actually plant food plots, and ag and stuff in the on public land, and it's not like they go in and harvest the corn or the soybeans or whatever they're planting. They're
right,
doing it just for the wildlife, which is pretty cool. I think it creates a
yeah,
whole nother habitat for you to hunt and for them to thrive on, for sure.
right. I mean, and they'll come out and do stuff. You can actually have them come out and manage your own private land if you want, which I don't think most people in Ohio realize that. If you want to have some kind of work done management wise or anything to your hunting land, you can actually have the state come out and do it. You can get a grant and have them come out, but they do their best to some point on some parts of Ohio, and then other parts get overlooked. And I'm not trying to, bash them because
All
they
right.
have a lot of ground to maintain. But I don't know. I just feel like some of these smaller wildlife areas that could really be something special just kind of get overlooked because, the budget goes elsewhere or whatnot.
All right. So walk me through a day in the turkey woods with you from beginning to when you call it quits.
Oh, I don't know. It all depends. It varies from day to day how much sleep I get, but I know like opening day, dude, I don't get hardly any sleep at all,
Right.
and get up at like 3 or something, and have to drive 2.5 hours somewhere to hunt. But first thing I always do is I always stop at the gas station. I'm always getting me a bang or something to get me going.
Or a couple of them.
Yep, couple of them for the road, and get down to some of the spots I have picked out previously before I get down there, and get out, walk in. If it's public or private, I try to get to a spot where I can listen pretty good. And owl who right about that perfect time, which I've always thought it makes it hard because you only have about 20 to 25 minutes where these birds are gobbling, and if you're going somewhere you don't know if there's birds, it's hard to, if you're by yourself, to really get on them because sometimes they gobble early, sometimes they gobble late. So say you go to this spot and you're listening, I mean, do you stay there and listen for another 10 minutes, or do you just hustle off to another ridge and try to get ears? And that's something I think I struggle with. But then, you get on them and, get on your map and just try to figure out the best spot to cut them off and what you can do. But I usually, if I'm on birds, I won't leave the woods if I don't have to.
Right.
I'll hunt them until they quit gobbling, or I get bored, or I fall asleep, or something.
Yeah, I've taken many, many naps in turkey woods.
Yeah, that's the best thing you can get right there.
As long as you take precautions on your clothing and don't wake up and have about 15 ticks on you, that'd be
Right.
great.
I remember one time in high school, I uh, I went to prom, and they had like a after prom get together at a water park near us. So, prom got done at probably 12. We went up there and went to the water park. Well, I didn't get home until like 4 or 4:30 or something like that. And I had not slept in like 24 hours.
Oh
And I get
man.
home and I'm walking in the house, and there's my dad, got all his camo and his turkey vest on. He's going hunting. And I'm like, dude, I've been up, I'm not gonna go to sleep now knowing that he's going down the road turkey hunting. So I just put my stuff on and went. And dude, I'm telling you, an hour in, I was out.
Oh yeah.
I was completely out. But
Especially on those weekends or long weekends or maybe a trip that you take when you stack 4 or 5 days of it in a row.
yeah,
You can be just absolutely tuckered after a couple of days doing that nonstop, especially in like Kentucky, like we were talking about,
right.
walking those hills and stuff, man. I need to hit the treadmill here for a few weeks before I go do all that.
It's always funny though. You start out season, and you're like all ready to go, and you got all this energy, and then like I don't know if it's for everybody, but in my case, I'm always every weekend I'm running, or every chance I get, it's constant. Like it never stops. When turkey season's here, that's pretty much all I do.
You're right.
And then at the end of season, dude, I'm like, how did I even survive that month? Like, I'm running on 2 hours of sleep every night and just living off caffeine and whatnot. But
Yeah, you done lost 10, 15 pounds just from
yeah,
walking and chasing birds.
yeah, but I wouldn't trade it for anything though, dude.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm with you, man. Turkey hunting definitely holds a special place in my heart. I fell in love with turkey hunting really before I did any other type of activity in the outdoors, and it always have a special place for me. And I truly enjoy chasing longbeards for sure.
It's crazy, dude, trying to explain it to somebody that's never went. And it's like anytime I tell somebody, they're like, "Hey, what's one of your favorite things to do, or what's your favorite thing to hunt?" And I'm like, turkeys. That's all the way. And they kind of laugh, and I'm like, dude, I mean, I'm serious. Like until you experience it, it might seem, like something silly, but you get out there and you hear a turkey gobbling, and I don't know. I feel like 9 out of 10 people are gonna get hooked on it.
Oh, absolutely. And I've told my wife before. I said the first year that I retire and I don't have to go to work anymore, I am starting in Florida just like you did. I don't care if I got to get an RV or what, but I am working my way up from the bottom to the top, and I'm
Right.
hunting for 2 months straight. Turkey hunting. I've never got to experience. I mean, I probably would be wore out by the end of that, I'm sure. But
Right.
if you staggered it out enough, I'm sure it would be a blast.
I see these guys doing it all the time on YouTube, just running from state to state. And I'm like, dude, how do you have enough time to do that? Like, where do I sign up for this?
Yeah, right. Where's this job application now? I need to fill this out.
Somebody send them my way. I'll do it.
It's like those hunting public guys, man. I don't know how they do it. I mean, I honestly don't. I mean, they have to be exhausted after that because they start in March, down south and work. I mean, they're turkey hunting in June
Yeah.
in Michigan and stuff like that, or up north in Minnesota and all that stuff. And I'm like, I would be so. I wouldn't say burn out because I could never be burnt out on it, but
Right.
I mean, there'd probably be days I'd be like, all right, boys, you go right ahead. I'm going to sleep in this morning and get me a good
Right.
breakfast or something. Well, man, I appreciate you coming back on, man. I had a blast talking some turkeys with you. Hopefully, get on some birds there in Ohio and Kentucky. And West Virginia, and hopefully you get a couple more down.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. It's a good time. I hope you get on some up there in Michigan this year.
I hope so too, man. That's been a blast. I can't believe I even got drawed for it, so I'm pretty pumped up about it. But tell everybody where they can find you at on social media.
So I'm on GoWild, Instagram and Facebook, and my GoWild's just Hunter Muller, and my Instagram's Hunter_Muller3, and then my Facebook's just Hunter Muller. So.
Gotcha. Appreciate it, man. You can check the show out. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Go Wild. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find us anywhere a podcast can be found. And I appreciate everybody listening or watching on the YouTube. And y'all have a good day.